Eric Pugsley Largent.
Tally. Okay, do that again.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm your number one fan.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
They're coming to get you, Barbara. They all flow down here.
What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Here's Johnny!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to John Hates Movies, the movie review podcast where my friends drag me away from my Trolls 2 reenactment society and instead force me to watch movies.
Oh my god!
This week we have with us Eric Pugsley Largent.
Tally-ho.
Next we have Chris the Thing Arsenault.
We gladly feast on those who would subdue us.
Not just pretty words.
That was their family.
I know, yeah.
Yep. We also have with us Colin Wednesday Addams.
Oh, well, I don't know how to feel about that.
She's your girl.
You are your girl.
Oh my god. Yes, I must become her.
Yep. And today we have a special guest with us. We have Millie Cousinit Combs.
Evening.
Evening.
I think you mean...
For those of you who haven't quite already guessed what it was that we reviewed, we have reviewed the Addams Family Movie, the 1991 version, original.
If you clicked on the link but didn't read what the link said, because the link says the Addams.
Well, there were also pictures that may have also given valuable insight to the situation.
Oh, no, come on. Not everybody who listens to this podcast actually visits the Facebook page.
Oh, I was going to say.
Shame on you.
Yeah, like in the iTunes, it'll say The Addams Family as the name of the episode.
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
might
it does.
also be a valuable
Either
pointer.
way, I thought he was going to say not everyone who listens to the podcast knows how to read.
Yeah. Did you ever think about that? I mean,
Thank God, Chris. I
increase
thought you were
awareness.
going to bring up the fact that we were insulting blind listeners. Thank you.
Oof.
Thank you.
All right. So now that we've basically driven away our entire audience,
Or at least the blind and stroke victims.
let's.
Hey, if we have any stroke victims straggling, I'm just.
Our goal is one disability per podcast.
Okay. So, if those of you who are curious as to what Netflix has to say about the Addams Family, Netflix gives it like almost 5 stars. I don't see too many movies here that are 5 stars, but this is basically.
There's no
way.
fucking
No, it
way.
had 3.5 stars when I checked it last night.
Yeah. John, are you sure you're not reading what it says that it's best suggestion for you?
Are you sure you don't have my account activated and saw my rating of it?
Let me take a look
This
here.
definitely had 3.5 stars.
Maybe it is like a suggested rating.
Yeah, because it will give you what it believes is for you.
Well,
That's
apparently
silly.
it believes that John believes that this should be a 5-star movie. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that.
I have it showing 3 stars.
Okay. Let's average it out and say 3.5. How's that sound?
Oh, let's say 3.
I watched this movie last night. It had 3.5 stars.
3.5.
Did
Okay,
Colin,
maybe
did you just
mine
look it
is
up?
saying 3.
No, I just-
long story short.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're going to say that Netflix says that this is a 3.5-star movie. And the synopsis is stepping out of the pages of Charles Addams cartoons in the 1960s television series, members of the beloved macabre family take to the big screen. Starring Angelica Houston, Raul Julia, Christopher Lloyd, and it's directed by Barry Sonnenfeld. So, I am to understand that Eric would like to go first.
The Addams Family is decadent and depraved. It was sometime after we ordered drinks that I broached the subject. You know how I do that movie podcast? I asked Donnie at lunch. Yeah, John hates movies. I've listened to a couple of those, he said, barely glancing up from his phone. Yeah, so we're doing this thing for October where we're only watching horror movies to review for the show. Right, he said. I listened to the Grabbers one. It wasn't too bad. The movie sounded all right, he replied, again giving the conversation as little attention as possible. Yeah, it was pretty good. Not really much of a horror movie, though. Tonight, I have to watch the Addams Family Movie. He glanced up from his phone with a skeptical look in his eye. The Addams Family? Uh-huh. And didn't you guys just do Leprechaun, too? Yep. So much for horror. Those movies are just silly. He was right, of course. A whole month dedicated to scary movies. And the best fright we got was from a woman that was spooked out by her harmless ghost brother. It's like dedicating a whole month to Christmas movies and only watching Home Alone 2, Die Hard 2, and Miracle on 69th Street, the porno remake of Miracle on 34th Street. So, you know how I do these movie reviews where I just, make the one-liner jokes and stupid observations, I asked Donnie. Yeah, he said, his attention completely recaptured by his phone. So I'm thinking of doing something different this week. Those guys don't really need me to do a serious review of the movie. So what else would you do, he asked. What else could I do? I'm not a film critic. I just happened to be around when John wanted to start a podcast and I kept showing up. I'll just stick to my observational one-liners. I may be a one-trick pony, but at least usually it's a good trick. As I sat down to watch the movie, I came upon a Netflix synopsis which implied that I was about to watch these classic characters of cartoon and television bring their talents to, quote, the big screen. This did not bode well. These did not seem like characters who needed 100 minutes of big screen time to flesh out. At that moment, it became painfully obvious that I wouldn't be able to complete this movie without the assistance of alcohol. A short trip to the corner store later, and I was adequately prepared. As the movie began, I pulled out my phone and loaded the joke cannon. Joke number 1! This movie opens with Christmas music. Spooktober my ass. Ugh. Not good. Way too obvious. Colin could have made that joke.
What is this now?
Joke number 2!
God, Brutus!
This movie is making me angry. So what is one to do when they're confronted with a bad movie? They don't have anything insightful or funny to say about it. The answer? Go negative. Whoever's playing the dad in this movie is a genuinely terrible actor. Ouch.
Oh.
Number 4. Every attempt at a joke in this movie feels like I am getting kicked in the balls. Ouch. Joke number 5. Oh, thing, you're a handful. Ouch. Joke number 6. The beer's not helpful. Duh. Joke number 7. If this doesn't get better, I'm turning it off. Those are hollow threats.
Oh my God.
Joke number 8. Okay, time to do the dishes. What the note taker doesn't want you to know is that he paused the movie while loading the dishwasher. Joke number 9. All right, back from the dishes and there's some kind of play happening. Number 10. Wow, look at how weird those Addams folk look next to those normal people. Some contrast. Number 11. Okay, the kid spraying blood is a pretty good Number 12. MC Hammer. Timeless. Number 13. No more. Please. No more. That is the sound of a man who's been broken by a terrible movie. Number 14. I wish I had more dishes to do. Number 15. Hey, Doc Brown. Take me back in time to before I had to watch this shitty movie. Number 16. The movie is over, but I still can't get away from MC Hammer. The lunch was over, and before long, we were back to the office. I asked, so do you think anything will ever come of the work we're putting into this podcast? As we were settling back into our desks. Donnie looked at me and said, maybe. You guys are usually funnier than that Siskel guy. The dead one, I asked? Oh, yeah. You guys are definitely funnier than him. And look at how far he got. And, dude, that convoy episode was really good. Thanks, I guess, dude. That's
Okay.
it.
Oh, that was great.
Well
Okay.
done.
I
Okay,
wish.
I would like to tell you guys that he walked in today and said, "So these are my
Oh my
notes for
God.
today," and he has 3 actual typed up pages of notes,
I wish.
which astounded me.
I wish I had a webcam so you could see my face during that because
Yeah.
I was trying to keep my shit together, but like my mouth was just hanging open. First of all, because it was funny, and second of all, because you betrayer. you Judas Brutus motherfucker. How dare you?
Look, I needed to get a little dig in there on you.
No,
That was-
I don't even remember the dig. How dare you lambaste my movie?
What I genuinely thought of the movie, like outside of my little essay there, was for the first 30, 40 minutes of the movie, I was like actually angry and having a hard time pulling my shit together.
Wow.
Like this movie made me mad.
Wow.
How
Is
bad
this-
yes.
Is this your
it-
first viewing of this movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have any relationship to these characters either, do you?
I remember like watching when I was like really little, like 6 years old. I remember watching some Nick at Night Addams Family.
Okay.
But like I don't remember plots or anything.
Oh, there never was any.
Right, it was just
Yeah, it
them
was-
doing a bunch of spooky gags. Right.
Yeah. Sight gags. The whole thing is sight gags.
Right.
And puns.
Yeah.
Lots of puns.
Mm-hmm.
But that's so I really didn't like the movie.
Wow. Man.
and honestly, like I didn't find anything redeeming about it. Like there isn't anything like other than the kids spraying blood and like doing their Shakespeare. That's the only thing that made me like go, okay, this is maybe okay. But like other than that, it just did not sit right with me.
So it's going to probably really upset you when we watch the sequel next week.
Hell
We're
yeah.
not watching the sequel.
Oh man. See, okay. Having watched this again, I always attribute this movie to be the beginning of my Christina Ricci crush, but I realized that she and I both were too young for that at this time.
Yeah.
Like this was the time in my life. Are you done, Eric? Like, because I can go from here. Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm done.
Well,
Yeah, okay,
let me
yeah, I'm done.
springboard off you, and I'll be your counterpoint. So,
So first off, you're wrong.
no.
Oh yeah, I'm allowed to be wrong.
You were wrong.
My whole spiel is allowed to be bad.
You were wrong so gloriously. I ain't even mad. Like that was such a fantastic review that like you can have it. That's fine. So I've long attributed this movie as the start of my Christina Ricci crush, but I was too young to know what that was when this came out because like Christina Ricci and I were born within 6 months of each other. So if she is 9 in this movie, and I think she's actually 10 because she was 9 in Mermaids, which was her first movie.
It's like fate, Colin. You guys
Oh,
were
I
meant
know.
to be together.
I know. That's my girl. And now that I'm a movie critic, like we're bound to finally meet. I have a story about almost meeting her and like failing when I had the opportunity, but I'll get to that later. So I realized that it's actually the sequel to this movie where my real crush began because then she and I were teenagers and like I knew what a girl was. But at this time in my life, anytime I saw a kid do something cool or something that I could relate to, I immediately became fascinated with that kid. So
What like put her brother in the electric
like
chair?
be weird and smart because I was a weird, smart, funny kid, and she's weird and smart and funny in this movie. And like, so yeah, like I became obsessed with the character of Gavroche in Les Miserables because he was the kid, and so like I was obsessed with kid roles that weren't stupid when I was a kid. And so I became obsessed with Wednesday Addams, and then in the sequel, she's actually like, you know, she's probably like 14 in the sequel, but then again, so was I. So I was like, Christina Ricci is hot. Wednesday Addams is hot. So like that's where this all began, and we've already covered my obsession with this woman. So,
Well, I mean, a lot of that was done off mic. I think,
maybe
right?
I don't know.
Or-
Did it actually? Did it end up cutting room floor? If it did, for the record, I am obsessed with Christina Ricci. I am not sorry.
He just wanted to make sure that out there. Hey, Christina, shout
what
out.
up, girl?
Listen to the podcast.
Yo, I know you listen.
Oh, and by the way,
that's
if,
right.
if you start getting
That's
any
right.
Twitter, any tweets from John Hates Movies, it's probably because Colin is in charge of that.
That's true. And
Christina, if you get any tweets from somebody named McThrillin on Twitter, ignore them because that's such a shitty Twitter
Eric,
handle.
what are you doing?
That's a joke. That's a joke.
Oh my
That's a
God,
joke.
you're killing me. Christina.
Wait,
Hey,
McThrillin,
is that really your
McThrillin.
Twitter name, Colin? McThrillin?
Colin McThrillin.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I approve.
Thank you.
I think that's a great handle.
McChillin and McVillain were taken. That's a fucking great Twitter
Colin.
handle, and you know it.
It's pretty good.
It is. It's a good one.
I'm just mad because I never come up with anything good as my avatar handle. Like on PlayStation Network, my PSN name is Eric Largent. Every
That's
time I
pretty
have
good.
to sign up for something, it's just
A name
It's easy to remember.
It's a name synonymous
Yeah.
with humor.
Yeah. Unintentional humor.
My PlayStation handle is on PlayStation Network. It's after my old WoW character, so yeah. So Christina, if you're listening, just you don't play games
Play
anyway.
some World of Warcraft with Colin.
Hit Colin up on
hit me
WoW.
up on. Yeah, hit me up at Osric Daddy on PlayStation Network. Yeah, go. So that can be cutting room floor. Anyway.
No. Hit me up at Osric Daddy.
So the Addams Family. Now, I love this movie, but as I was watching it, Eric, I thought to myself, in all honesty, this probably isn't a very good movie.
But not all those jokes, they're all.
You know
bad,
what though?
Oh, isn't it raining out? Isn't it lovely?
You know what though? All right.
That
Here's
kind
the
of
thing,
shit.
though. Oh shit.
Here's the thing.
1, 2.
Here's what I am saying to you now. I, in my heart of hearts,
a half?
I am like a dad joke loving motherfucker.
Yeah.
I love
all right. Dad
those
jokes.
stupid jokes. It probably comes from my working in children's theater for a decade. So, Raul Julia looking down at something that in reality isn't even there because it's a fairly mediocre green screen effect, and going, "Oh, thing, you're a handful," and I'm like, right, because he's a hand. I
see, that shit was making me sick.
Oh my God, I live for that shit, and I am currently, because of rewatching it, I'm in a phase of Addams Family obsession right now. It's my dream, my one dream, Christina, is to find a woman who will be Morticia to my Gomez. For Halloween, that'd be so much fun. And I mean, almost 100% of the dialogue in this movie is so stupid, but it's so funny to me. It's just so dumb, and I mean, it's formulaic, and you know where it goes every time because it's all "Oh, you were a beast and you frightened me last night, Gomez. Do it again," and I'm just like,
right.
I think I don't know. I admit that the humor in this movie is absolutely as corny as it gets.
Yeah.
I defy you to argue against that. This is corny and stupid, and it's full of dumb puns, and I just love it. And also MC Hammer, which is just so strange to hear.
That was awful. Trying to date this movie like it was in the early '90s, that's when it was taking place, was a huge mistake. I don't know.
They should have just had Cousin It roll up with some fat beat playing, not necessarily Hammer. Just
right. Because Hammer only mattered for 6 months. So the time and day that this movie was shot, because that's
And
when
you
Hammer was relevant.
say that
And
like
yet,
it's a bad
2
thing.
years later,
I do.
they put
Yeah,
the
it is.
same horrible rap in the second movie.
I don't even want to think about it a second. How this movie got a sequel?
Well, because
I mean, I know it made bank.
Oh
it
yeah,
made
because
bank. It made a ton
this
of
movie
money.
hit it hard. It was huge when it came out, and part of that is Christopher Lloyd was enormous at this time because the Back to the Future trilogy had just closed.
He's coming off a Back to
the
the Future,
and so it was for a minute, Christopher Lloyd could do no wrong. And I have this one of the things I wrote is I wonder if playing Doc Brown is like one of the worst things that ever happened to him. If you look at I know this is tangential to Addams Family, but if you watch the extra stuff on the super deluxe Back to the Future thing, he talks about how he didn't even really care about playing Doc Brown because he was doing like Shakespeare live and stuff. He was so legit.
Well, yeah, you look at him in Taxi, and he's like completely, I don't know.
He was super legit, and then he became well known for being a character actor on screen because of Back to the Future. And then they cast him as characters in a bunch of movies subsequently, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and he's Fester Addams in 2 Addams Family movies. And then it's like he just disappears. Now, what really broke my heart about Christopher Lloyd is the movie A Million Ways to Die in the West came out earlier this year. There is a Doc Brown joke, like spoilers. They discover Doc Brown is discovered in the barn working on the DeLorean in the middle of this movie, and Christopher Lloyd, and he says it's a weather experiment, and then he says "Great Scott," and I mean, ha ha ha, that's a reference. I feel like Christopher Lloyd started doing a lot of work that he didn't really want to do, but he was making some serious bank, and I think that he broke his own heart, and so I was thinking about that while watching The Addams Family because. Before he is Fester and he's the Gordon character, he's this hulking brute of a character, which is really unusual for Lloyd. You don't think of him that way, and he's fucking huge in this movie. I'm sure it's all padding and costume, but I never thought about that when I was a kid. But looking at it now, I'm like, man, he's a lean guy naturally, and he's gigantic in this movie. It was interesting. Although I love watching Christopher Lloyd, and I think that he does great work in this too. If you're okay with watching a movie where every single person is completely over the top, I do agree with you, Eric. Though the kids bleeding all over is that scene is fucking priceless.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
And my favorite part about that is that they have the cap where they're bowing and they're still shooting blood everywhere. The rest of the movie might be just stupid, crappy jokes, but that scene is one of those rare shining moments of comedic brilliance. And that was one of those. That was the moment where I was I'm watching little itty bitty Christina Ricci and her little death scene where she's I know. And she's doing the dramatic kid death, but her ability to do everything so deadpan for a 10-year-old, she was really pretty fucking good for a child actor. And so she I feel like the movie's worth watching just for her. I mean, I have a well-known bias, but I don't know. I love this. I actually had notes, but I'm not even. I haven't even been going with them. I'll pick 2 of my favorites. Number 1. I think it's a super shame that Raul Julia died.
Yeah.
Oh, was he?
He is in the second. They made a third, which was straight to video.
He actually died in 94, 95.
Oh, so my this actor's a terrible. This is a terrible actor. Isn't gonna.
He died during the filming of Street Fighter.
His last role was M. Bison, so that's weird.
Yeah, especially considering he's
Stop all your goddamn size.
But
by the way, Chris is a huge Street Fighter fan.
In all honesty,
and a huge Raul Julia.
So what's weird though is
Keys to the Spider.
I don't actually know what he did before Addams Family though. I only know him for Addams Family.
Kiss of the Spider Lady. Yeah.
And I know he's corny as Gomez, but I fucking love his Gomez, and I think he's hilarious.
Raul Julia is actually kind of a big deal. I believe he's an Oscar nominee, if not an Oscar winner. But he's super legit. Yeah, so this was his for funsies,
right?
I think he did really good.
I think he did. He did a great Gomez.
The show. Honestly, I think this movie was perfectly cast, even if it wasn't perfectly written.
Yeah.
I think that Angelica Houston and Raul Julia are amazing together. They are, I mean, both of them are perfect individually for those roles, but the way they work together is so funny. And I love Angelica Houston. I think she's absolutely hilarious. I mean, she kind of delivers every joke the same way, but she does it so perfectly that I don't even care. My favorite one of which is your husband just a shiftless layabout? And she says, not like he used to be, or something and I don't know. I love Angelica Houston as Morticia Addams. My favorite Raul Julia line is when the fake psychologist is talking to him, and she says, "Und you felt the little black monster?" And he goes, "Pugsley." That's my favorite. I know I'm kind of incoherent, but I would be whether drunk or sober about this movie because no matter how stupid it is, whether it's good or bad, I fucking love this movie. It's like one of my favorite movies from that era.
So this is your warm fuzzy.
Oh yes. Like,
yeah, you get a pass. You don't have to be coherent.
I
about your warm
absolutely
fuzzy.
acknowledge the full brunt of nostalgia goggles regarding the Addams Family, and I'm keeping them on. I want to watch it again.
If you go back and listen to my review of The Karate Kid, I sound much the same way you do here, which is basically I was like,
I know. It's like and
Drunk on nostalgia.
And I love that. And you guys, this is a great movie. You guys.
But the difference is that what I felt nostalgic about was actually pretty fucking awesome. Where what you feel nostalgic about.
This movie's rad. It's responsible for ushering in the 90s because it's like, hey, it's way better to be weird and not like anything.
I guess that's
It was 1991.
Okay.
This movie was the summer blockbuster, and the whole thing is like, it's cool to be weird and completely reject everything in front of you. Then the 90s started.
Yeah.
So I think Millie's got a take on this
I
movie.
do have a take on this movie. Colin, are you wrapped up?
I don't think it's going to get any better from here, so yeah.
Okay. Did you want to leave one last plea to Miss Rishi?
Christina. Hey, babe. Hey, I love you. Christina Ricci, if you ever listen to this podcast, you never...
And he stuck the land.
Nope, we're good. We're good. I love you,
Christina. Okay, Colin, sober up before we have to play the game.
All right. It's my turn?
Yeah, I'm finished.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Go, Millie, go.
Millie.
I'd like to preface this saying I'm kind of coming from the same place that Colin did. When I was growing up, we had this on VHS with the rap video at the very end.
I forgot about that.
You remember that
it
on the
now.
VHS version? You could watch
Millie.
the music video for the rap video. Yeah. So I really enjoyed this movie while I was growing up, just because it was funny. That being said, I want to point something out. John, you were saying, you were nostalgic about a particular movie, whereas it was not shit. Okay. Here's the thing. You can be nostalgic about that fine meal you had in that faraway foreign place, or you can be nostalgic about that really greasy pizza that they used to make right around the corner from your house.
You know what, college?
This is not. This is not. But I mean, the thing. This is not highbrow film. This is McDonald's. Okay. This is not supposed to be. I mean, it's okay that it's dated, and it's okay that it's right, and it's okay that it's camp. That's what it is, and they fucking glory in it.
Yep.
I agree.
All right, so I'm going to start off with, I have some notes here. I'm going to leave out my first note. Second note, thing waxes.
I think I need to hear the first note.
We're going to come back to my third note at the end here. Fourth note, eye lights.
Oh.
Why the fuck did they light up her face like that? Angelica Houston has a perfectly beautiful face. Why do you only apply light to the fucking 2 inches around her goddamn eyeballs? What's going on with that?
Yeah, that happened.
Supposed to be menacing?
I don't know. Is that how the character looked back in the TV
No.
show?
No,
I don't
that's
know.
a stylistic
Are you talking about
noir
like her
thing.
first appearance where she's laying down on the bed and you have
Well,
that like
for basically the first third of the movie, they have more
Well, they do
theatrical
that and they
light
keep
to
doing it that
her
way.
eye area than the rest of her face.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to
Yeah.
be noir, but it's like really bad interpretation.
yeah, I
of
think
it.
it's supposed to be a cheesy throwback to like old Hollywood horror stuff, but I can't definitely back that up.
That
Well,
actually would
It was
make sense.
distracting, It was distracting to have a lighting like
Sure.
that.
Yeah, because she was like
Mhm.
the only one lit that way.
Yeah. Number 5, the scene where Gomez is hitting golf balls off of his porch and it goes through the keyhole window at the house next door. Yeah, did anybody else notice that window was on the second floor? Who the fuck has their breakfast nook on the second fucking floor? Sorry.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
did notice that.
Yes, no, I'm with you there. I thought that was a
Okay,
bit odd
all
as
right.
well.
Moving on, 25 years obsessing over Fester being gone, I don't think these people want him back. I think they're very happy with the life that they've built. Centered on obsessing over the fact that Fester has been gone all this time.
Yeah, they're obsessed with sadness and grief.
Yeah, I guess you can get that anywhere, but, it just seemed interesting that they had spent so long being fucked up about it. Agreement with Colin, I thought that the casting was very good, but in addition to what he said about the Morticia and Gomez casting, I thought that the actress who played Wednesday, who shall remain unnamed, and the actor who played Pugsley...
I think I know who that was. Let me IMDb that.
I thought that they were good choices. I mean, not only like the dynamics and that they were good, they had good presentation, but actually that they kind of looked like people who might actually result from a union between Gomez and Morticia. They actually looked like they might be their kids.
You do know why why it's what the 25-year thing was, right?
No.
I don't think any of us do.
The Addams Family TV show was from 64 to 66. I was pretty sure about this. Addams Family Movie.
Yeah,
was
that's
91.
what I wondered. I thought that was it was like a literal.
25
God damn
years,
it!
that's
Just
the joke.
sunk my fucking
So
conspiracy
at the very
theory.
end of the TV show,
No,
That's
no,
actually-
no, no.
go away.
I don't believe there is. They just make a joke because it's been a
That's why one of my
25-year
first notes
span.
is: Are they immortal?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And your girl is in suspended.
That would be terrible.
Let's
That would
not
be
go
awful.
there.
She's a vampire.
We're not going
I don't
there.
even want to think about that.
Not going there.
Mm-mm.
Not going there. I'm almost done.
Okay.
All right. Note number 9. Dressing your children like inmates must save time. Okay, number 10. I didn't notice this when I was a kid. Maybe I noticed it on some level, but in the scene where they were, where Gomez and Fester were downstairs in the vaults watching the old films, the film of the ball, Fester does probably the most creepy thing I have ever seen in my life. Can anybody imagine a situation outside of a doctor's office where it is acceptable to reach out and clean the earwax out of another human being's ear? That is like the new threshold for creepy behavior. Wow.
It's a wet willy, yo.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty creepy. No, wet willies will set me off. I've gotten one wet willy in my life, and it sent me into a violent rage. Like if you lick your finger and touch the inside of my ear, we are in a bad fight.
I
Like we're in a fight where somebody's
agree
going
with
to
that.
get really.
like wet willies. It's okay to not be all right with wet willies.
Yeah,
Yeah, it happened to me in school.
I mean,
and
I'm not even sure. Like from what they showed of the film, it wasn't really clear whether it was a wet willy situation or type of intimate grooming is appropriate. In a formal occasion kind of thing.
I'm not sure I recall the part she's even
Oh, I
referring
do, because
to.
when I saw it this time, I was kind of blown away by it. But it's basically they're watching the,
And they're
the
dancing
silent
with
film,
Like
Siamese
the home
twins.
Yep.
videos, yeah.
and then there's this shot
Okay.
of Fester like reaching into one of the twins' ears and cleaning
Isn't
Wiggling
it
out
like
his
her
right
finger
ear.
after
around.
Gomez says something? Like Gomez says something about Fester being super charming,
Yeah.
and then they show this
Exactly,
him giving,
that's it.
like him sticking his finger in the girl's ear.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Well, I suppose it's more of that classic Addams Family humor where gross things are beautiful and
Right.
unfunny things are funny.
Okay.
And all that
he
kind
says
of shit.
he says, "Oh, you were so charming," and he sticks a finger in the girl's ear, and that's the joke.
Yeah, that's
These are the jokes, folks.
yeah, but for disregard of personal boundaries, that's fucking special, is what that is.
It's not
One more
funny,
note.
man.
It was really annoying that at the ball Wednesday, there's a ball going on and she's threatened, as opposed to, I don't know, going to the place filled with her parents, her family, and all of their freaky and no doubt just as, sociopathic as her parents' friends. She doesn't go there when she's threatened. She runs outside on her own.
She goes to
Right.
her safe place. She
Okay.
goes to the
And so
crypt.
between Colin and you guys have kind of blown my theory here. I thought that Wednesday was supposed to be a little older in this movie. I thought that she was maybe 11 or 12.
I think that what happened is everybody sort of transposed Wednesday from the sequel into the first one also.
Right.
Because she's like young teens in the sequel. And I know I did that in my brain. I forgot that she's like 9 in this movie.
Yeah, she's a little kid. I think it's just that because she has to play a deadpan, she comes across as older.
She also, she is actually 11. Like, Christina Ricci is 11.
Okay.
In this movie. So, or maybe 10 because like the production period would have been in 1990, and she was born in 1980.
Okay, all right.
So, but I'm pretty sure that everybody just transposes Addams Family Values Wednesday onto Addams Family, because I don't know.
Okay, anyhow, the point that I was getting to is that throughout the whole movie, they talk about this 25-year period that Fester has been missing. Obviously, Gomez and Mort have been married long enough to have one 9 and or 10-year-old child. Morticia also...
well, obviously they all suffer from Simpsonitis.
And Morticia knows Fester. She knows him from before. So Fester was there before. Anyhow, I thought that Wednesday was older, so I had this whole theory that they were only fertile every teen years.
Whoa.
But there went my theory. So...
That's
yeah. Oh wow.
That's a long cycle.
Well,
they're creepy
and they're kooky.
Yeah.
Mysterious and ooky. They're all together.
They're mysterious and spooky.
Maybe it's just that they don't age because they're timeless.
Just like MC Hammer.
Yeah.
Well, we all thought he was going to be.
MC Hammer. Who doesn't love a good pair of parachute pants? Come on.
They're coming back.
They sure are comfortable.
They were called Hammer Pants for a while. Like a good 4 months
pants,
in 1990.
Yeah.
the 4 out of the 6 months that Hammer was relevant.
There you go.
They were called Hammer Pants.
But the thing is, and like,
Hammer.
I know that using an MC Hammer in this movie, but I think it just reinforces the whole idea of the known date. That was the big musical act at the time, and like somebody mentioned before, I can't remember who, when you hear the MC Hammer song, it carbon dates the movie to a bit of about 6 months. It is incredible dating, but in addition to it using that, timeless immersion, you're also looking at is it be into a known quantity.
It also makes you want to punch people in the face.
Well, maybe you, but not all of us.
Yes.
Well, what's interesting is Hammer was relevant for such a short time. It's amazing that they actually grabbed him up for enough time to make a movie.
Well, in that stupid song at the end, he is saying too legit. Even when he's got to write a different song for a different a totally different thing, he still puts too legit.
Right.
Too legit.
Too legit to quit was so fresh enough that it benefited Hammer to advertise it in the movie.
I wish
the song for this movie.
I wish we had a webcam because he was doing a little dance as he was singing.
This is obviously the necessary supplemental material
you guys,
for this podcast.
You guys are missing it.
So, Millie, are you wrapped up at this point?
That's all I got.
Okay. Well, Chris, you want to take us home here?
John, I think we might. This might be one of those episodes where John takes us home with the sober, salient take on the the
I don't.
Do you have one of those lined on?
Salient takes me.
No.
Do you have one of those lined up, Johnny?
Sadly, no. I'm afraid not.
So Chris, well, Chris, I need a big boy review out of you right now. Do you think you can do that for me?
Fuck me.
Whoa! What was that? Holy shit! Shots
I'm not even sure
fired
what the
over
fuck
here.
you're asking. I think what he's asking actually is for someone to agree with him because so far he stood up, pissed over this entire film, and then has gotten nothing but opposing fucking opinions from the people who have responded to it so far.
To be fair, I gave a Devin who review of okay, it's really bad, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no, that is true.
All right, so Chris, what do you got for me?
Well, first I'd like to say more on that. Watch the Desperado. Listen to the Desperado episode.
Oh no!
I think they
Dusk Till
should.
Dawn was the one where we wasted him so
in
hard.
that
But
case,
still,
I agree. They should watch the Dusk Till Dawn. Think about that. Think about that.
And in case you
Think
wanted
about
to know whether or not we think Salma Hayek is hot, listen to the
Desperado.
Desperado one.
Yeah, I don't think anyone needs
Spoilers,
to...
we all thought she was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like,
Okay.
John Hates Movies, constantly keeping you up to date on who we thought was hot in the 90s. Sorry, Chris.
No, you're
Me.
good.
John
Okay.
was pretty hot in the 90s.
So I
don't
would
know
like
if- I don't know if
to,
everybody knew
yes, I
about
was.
that, but yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty good looking one time.
As I've calmly and casually...
Billy's got nothing to say about John being hot. Sorry, Chris.
I
We're all
feel
having
like
a
the
good time.
intro... Wah, wah, wah. Anyway, as I've calmly and casually mentioned already on the podcast, I am a huge Raul Julia fan.
Hell yeah.
How on earth can a person be a huge Raul Julia fan?
Because I think he is brilliant. And to paraphrase John, Raul Julia, staccato done right.
You just like that stupid mustache.
He has a brilliant
Oh, that
mustache.
mustache
It's
is
not
fucking
stupid. Your face is stupid. Raul Julia's mustache is fuck you.
Come on, dog. That's the kind of pencil thin mustache they write
You're
songs about.
begging me to be on your side. Okay, sorry.
All right, Chris, let's have some more. Let's have some more.
About the film, we open up and we have this Carol. That was really fucking weird. It opens up with Christmas music, and I was super confused by
What the
that.
fuck were they doing?
And they had the caroling, and I assume the only reason they did it was for the excuse that they would have someone that would be out in front of the house standing there for no reason so that they could pour boiling oil on them, which I agree carolers
Christmas
deserve.
carolers, fuck them. Welcome to the 90s.
I'm not 100% positive, but if I remember correctly, that is actually the first Charles Addams Family cartoon.
So
I thought it was a good gag.
It was an amusing gag. It just didn't have any place with the rest of the movie. I mean, I guess if you are an aficionado of the comics and the history of Addams Family, it might have made some semblance.
World War
I'm
I
sure
political
somebody
comics.
still alive really appreciated that.
You know, they remember that comic from 1921, and you know what? It's as good in film as it was in print.
That's
means
right.
not
Well
very.
said, Chris.
Once again, we've established carolers deserve to be, covered in boiling oil.
Yeah.
Yes.
Barry Sonnenfeld, the director. Here's the thing. The
Go for it.
film
Just fucking
deserved
go for it.
the artistic style that it had, that dark, gloomy atmosphere.
Yeah.
The other part of it is that there were a lot of films that took that atmosphere, and it felt like watching this movie felt a little bit like Tim Burton's Batman. And I was
Fucking
waiting
cold,
for
man.
Batman to show up. It's cold calling Addams Family Batman or Batman Addams Family. I'm confused where you're going with that. What's cold
I didn't
about
like that Batman.
I didn't like that Batman either. I was getting to that. Okay, all right. What does it say right there?
Fuck you, Tim Burton. Chris is going to say fuck you, Tim Burton, and I wholeheartedly agree with
I was
that.
getting to that. I was doing this whole thing just to get to that aside. Also, it did look that way, and I'm not a fan of that style. Because I'm really drawing a blank on others, but there were a number of films that kind of held that same weird gloom that in the early 90s, and I never liked it. I thought it was really misplaced, but I feel like it's because of Tim Burton's Batman.
It could be, yeah.
Just because it got really fucking popular, blah, blah, blah. All right, that aside, I really want a super secret hidden door bookcase that leads to a trap door, then to a gondola ride through the catacombs to a layer of vaulted memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone should have one of those.
That's what I have to do every time I go to my mind palace.
This movie was PG-13, and as an adult watching this movie, I don't fucking understand how it's possibly fucking PG-13.
There were no boobs.
No. But look,
Hey, some of the
one.
statues
Not even
had
cleavage.
there were cleavers.
Yeah. Millie's right. Some of those statues were
Yeah.
were stacked
But
up.
no.
They were buck
What
ass naked.
I don't understand is from the standpoint of violence in this film. Like I don't want to sound like a douchey parent. My kid can't fall down on the parking lot in the playground. We should cancel playground and make them all sit inside for recess.
Cancel
Cancel
parking
parking
lots.
lots. Nobody should have to suffer
So
through
what
that.
are you saying, Chris?
But the children
I'm
love
just
the parking
astounded
lot.
that it's PG-13. Like, she openly
None
harassed.
of the deaths happen on screen.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of implied, and there's a lot of action done by the children themselves that just seems like it's going to be emulated.
Maybe that's your answer right there.
So you're saying you feel
Also,
like
the arsenic stuff and the electric chair.
Right.
you feel like it was the social responsibility of the ratings board to rate this movie R because of the potential influence that it could have, not necessarily because any of the actual hard measurements that make an R rating.
Correct.
I agree.
Interesting.
That's. Whoa, Chris!
I
You did it. You
can see
showed up
that.
with a salient point.
I usually do. I just bury it under so much bullshit that nobody usually sees it. Or sees it coming. Here's another thing. The theme in this movie was
stupid funny stuff.
stupid funny stuff. Okay.
Don't
Lost
try to
Brother
steal. Okay, yeah.
Lost Brother Returns, it's all a gimmick to steal all their money,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second movie, murdery bride marries brother to try to steal all the money, right?
hmm But that was like every episode of the
Hold
show.
on,
Every
I'm
episode of the
not
show
done.
was.
Oh.
Now, I was remembering another film remake of an old TV series, The Beverly Hillbillies. Usurping bride
Wait, they made a movie
tries
of
to
that?
steal the family's money. But these
Mhm.
movies, both the Addams Family movies and the Beverly Hillbillies movie have in common is that
Jed
the original
Clampett.
characters from all these
Stupid rich
60s TV shows,
Right.
it's the assumption that an older generation of characters are stupid and inept. The characters in the film, Addams Family films, are incredibly naive, yet are crassly morbid. So you'd think they would have the knack to see some of this trickery in front of them, but they're not.
No, they're all really dumb.
They're all really dumb, and I don't understand that part of it.
Yeah, these are like the Transylvania hillbillies.
Right. Exactly. But no, my point is
I'd
that the
probably watch that
60s
show.
sitcom characters are assumed to be stupid. When they are when
Well, they did
hold
the
on,
same
when
thing
they are
with the Brady Bunch
What are you
movie.
saying about
when
society,
they are
Chris?
when they're these 60 characters when they're introduced into a modern day setting, they're too stupid to exist in a modern day.
Well, yeah, the whole thing is postmodernism.
I was not a huge fan of this movie. I did recall watching it back, when I was younger. I never really liked it then either. I've always kind of felt uncomfortable about this film, and I never really knew why. I still don't know why. That said,
It's because of your obvious obsession with Christina Ricci.
Yeah, that's exactly. No. I do actually like the second one. And I like the second one better than this first one, obviously, considering I have almost no respect for the first one.
Well, the baby has a mustache. That's coming.
Yeah, it's funny. All that down. Not a fan of the movie, but I did love a couple parts. I loved the turnaround of Fester.
Yeah,
He's walking up
nice.
the stairs. The kids are playing sword fighting in Pugsley Stab Wednesday, and he gets outraged. No! You go for the jugular! And it was a great moment because he's suddenly breaking from this character of Gordon into his Fester character. And it was really actually cool.
At the same time, Gordon is also a homicidal
Right!
maniac because he's
Right, it's like he's playing on his two strengths. Or one string.
And I agree with you. I think that's sort of the turning point where the movie stops just being stupid
Right.
puns and actually has some value to it. Is where he starts to establish a relationship with the kids.
I like that and the Cato attacks.
Kato?
Yeah.
When the lawyer comes in,
Oh, yeah.
Gomez
Okay.
immediately starts attacking him, and they end up
Right,
sword
right.
fighting. It's Special Clouseau from the Pink Panther.
Okay.
Cato attacks him, keep him on his toes.
Okay.
The Cato attack. I love that. That, hands down, if there's anything I want in my life, obviously I don't want someone to try to kill me, but the surprise attack, adventure kind of thing, that amuses me. That's hilarious.
You better be ready next time I come over for John Hay to record John Hay's movies.
So next time
He's gonna drop down from the
next time
ceiling.
next week for John Hates Movies, Eric drives Chris to the hospital.
So you tidied up there, Chris?
Yeah. The
Okay.
like I said, the movie was terrible. The rap was terrible.
In
Raul
closing,
Julia was good.
fuck Tim Burton.
And fuck Tim Burton.
when it comes to Addams Family, it hits a
It's
nostalgia
okay,
button
man.
for me,
Rip off the
but
Band-Aid.
this movie kind of really sucks.
It's awesome. You shut up.
Up top.
I mean,
Me and Chris just high-fived for you, Johnny, because this movie fucking is terrible.
This movie's awesome.
This is a
Everyone
good
go watch it
movie.
right now.
I'm going to watch it again.
It's a good movie. I'm going to watch it again. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I am.
Millie and I watched it together, and she will attest that I did laugh at pretty
Sure
much every
did.
single one of those jokes. But that's because I love that sense of humor. I do too, like a lot of dad humor. I find it kind of funny, and it always makes me chuckle. One of my favorite TV shows that uses it very well is like Scrubs, and like Scrubs, this is actually a pretty shitty movie, just like that was a pretty shitty show.
Oh,
So I
you
mean,
love Scrubs.
yeah, the plot was terrible. It's really weird, but it's like I could watch clips of this movie all day. I could watch a clip of Raul Julia going, saying some of the silly lines out of context. But for some reason, when you put this movie in a context, I kept looking at the fucking countdown. I'd pause it and I'd be like, oh my God, how is there 50 minutes of this movie still left? How is there 30 minutes of this movie still left? I couldn't figure it out because the thing is that everything that you wanted to do, you couldn't really fire it off like right in a row and had like a half an hour TV show. And it would have been
You don't
perfect.
say.
Yeah. So anyway, if you guys, if this is a, does it still hold up kind of movie for you, our listeners? Honestly,
Listeners, just
I
ask
think-
yourselves, does MC Hammer still hold up?
He does.
Actually, I hate to say it, but that's a pretty good marker. I think asking if MC Hammer still holds up is actually a pretty good gauge about how you're going to feel about the Addams Family. Revisiting it
Who's MC
after
Hammer?
I can't in good conscience recommend a rewatch of this film.
Yeah.
Okay, so I believe it's time for the game.
All right.
It better be. I'm done.
Yes, let's play the game.
Oh yeah, we have somebody playing for somebody else, right?
We have actually, it's a little confusing. I gotta admit, I didn't do my due diligence.
I'm
So,
confused.
Christine Peruski, she nominated Colin to play a game for her, and she wanted us to watch Cabin in the Woods. I did tell her that Spooktober is pretty much over. That doesn't mean that we can't watch Cabin in the Woods, though.
Right.
Yep. But the problem is that Colin is running the game this week.
Right.
And I think rather than have somebody else play for Christine, Christine, if you are listening, I do apologize, but I think in order to let Colin actually play for you, we're gonna have him play for you next week if Colin's okay with that.
Yeah. See, I'm willing to play for Christine if that's how this is
Okay,
happening.
Eric.
If Christine would have me.
Well, let's do it this way.
Eric
Let's
should be
call
lucky
her.
too.
Eric will play.
She'd be lucky too. I know her
Do you
boyfriend,
guys know
and he's a
Christine?
bum. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's see somebody. Yeah, okay.
She's also a podcaster.
Oh,
So
Well, in this case, how about Eric plays for her this week? If she
Okay.
doesn't like that,
somebody else could play for her.
yeah, Colin or whoever,
and if Eric doesn't win, I'll be on deck to play for her when I return.
Okay. So that being said, she is not the only person that's getting played for. Millie Ann Combs has actually been selected by our good old buddy John DeFord.
Yeah.
John,
She's gonna keep trying. He
Yeah,
gave
he's
up on
gonna-
me because he's
I hope
smart.
he's ready to be disappointed.
according to our Facebook,
Well, he
Well, he's
originally
used to
chose
picking
James, so
losers,
yes.
so
according to John DeFort, according to our Facebook, John DeFort likes to hear his name said on our podcast.
Oh, does John
It
DeFord
would've-
like
Are
to
we,
hear his
are we
name?
talking about the same John DeFore?
I
Yes,
think we
the
are.
John DeFort.
The John DeFort.
correct.
I
Yes!
think so.
John,
So,
thanks for
John
listening.
DeFord.
Of the DeForts from the valley. Not those mountain DeForts.
Hello, John DeFort. How are you doing, John DeFort?
You know, I'm a little
John.
upset
Does it
that we-
sound creepy, John
Have the lambs
DeFort?
stopped screaming, John DeFort? I ate John DeFort's liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Okay.
So, Christine,
Alright,
aren't you
so
glad we didn't
game.
do this to you?
So,
So the game.
the
All
game.
right. I was thinking about this movie, and there's a character who is not one of the Addams, the good judge that is the poor fella that gets the golf balls shot through his window all the time by Gomez's golf swing habit. So I thought about it, and in the game today, that's you. You are the long-suffering neighbor, and you have a set of weird neighbors. And they do something that drives you crazy, and you really just want them out. So your job in the game is, what is the name of the weird neighbor family, and what do they do that drives you crazy? What's your diabolical scheme to get them out of town? For instance, if I was the judge next door, I am bothered by the Grumbles family, and they are constantly digging tunnels searching for treasure under the neighborhood. My diabolical plan would be to frame them for murder. So that is it. You have weird neighbors. They do something weird that drives you nuts. How are you getting them out of town?
So here's what it is. I have a neighbor, and every day they park their car really close to mine. Like, so close, it's like difficult. Just so close that, like, I can get into my car, but it's like, kind of having, like, just opening up where you can, like, squeeze in. So it's not so much that you can't legitimately get in from your driver door, but it's like where you kind of think maybe I should just crawl across, from the passenger side. But then you realize, oh, right, I drive a manual, so I'm going to have, like, a stick up my ass, literally. So you're like, all right, fuck. Okay. So I don't know who the neighbor is because it's an apartment complex, and we're just going to call them jackass, neighbor, fuck you, bastard, shit, fuck.
What?
Are you actually playing the game right now?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, wasn't sure if it was the game or real life.
No, I wasn't.
I actually had. I'll get to that. So my vengeance on this individual will be
shitty fuck neighbor.
Yes,
or whatever
will be
they're called.
a sly game of passive aggression. In response to their shitty park job, I'm going to slowly leak the air from their tires.
Oh, nice.
Like a little bit every day?
A little bit every day. And then they're going to get them filled up, and then I'm going to leak them out again. And then you're going to get those tires replaced. Then I'm going to let them leak out again. Now,
eventually they're so pissed off they'll move.
if they don't get the connection between their loss of air in their tires and their poor parking,
How the fuck could they?
I'll murder their entire family. Just
feeling
saying.
these are all going to end in murder.
Oh, okay.
Because eventually, you know what? You have to admit, being passive aggressive only hurts yourself. So you're
True.
best to hurt other people.
So instead of being passive aggressive, instead of leaving notes on the fridge, I'll just murder him.
Yep.
The only thing I don't have is the name of my neighbors. So we're going to call them the dummies.
Oh, that's right. You usually rely on me for your nonsense words. I forgot.
Yeah, I do. I love nonsense words, but I can't come up with any on my own.
Wrinkle plop.
And they're the Rainbow Flops.
All right.
All right. So the Rainbow Flops, they live next door, and they annoy the hell out of. Actually, they don't annoy the hell out of me, but I want their land so that I can build a water park. Because I'm this big water park mogul.
Wait, are you the bad guy in most children's films?
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to steal their land.
Yeah, I'm trying to steal their land. I
Are
wear
you
a
going to be
cowboy
foiled
hat.
by like a bunch of kids and a dog?
Possibly. But actually, that's exactly... See, because my secret plan is
Someone
actually...
be foiled by
my
surfaces.
And my whole secret plan is that I fake a will from like one of their great relatives that they didn't know they had, so that they have to go and they inherit this big mansion, but it's actually haunted, and they have to stay over there for 24 hours. And and then only then do they get their long lost dead great uncle's fortune. And I'm actually in the house, and I'm like creating all these ghost effects because I want to scare them to death.
Wait a minute. Okay, I have to stop you for half a second, Sean.
Yeah?
I feel like you're filling in for James.
A little bit of family tradition at work right now because that went on.
I know I'm not going to win, so I'm just going to go off.
I'm just gonna start talking and see what happens.
So I go through all these things, and it turns into this weird like Home Alone situation where the kids realize what's going on, and they create all these traps and stuff that like cause me to fall downstairs and get smashed in the face with paint buckets and stuff, and I don't win, and I don't get their house, and I don't get their land, and I can't turn it into a water park.
Yep, you don't win.
Wow.
Damn it!
Dang it.
Okay,
Oh,
let me give this a try.
Oh, Lord. I think John was just stalling longer than I thought.
Well,
This is collusion.
Well, the thing
really.
is that
Go for it, Millie.
we don't have one neighbor. The thing is, we don't have one neighbor. We actually have two neighbors, right? So we got the Dunwins on one side of us, and we got the Igthorns on the other side of us. And really, my problem is with the Dunthorns, bunch of uppity bitches. They kicked me out, and here I am. I mean, but the thing is that they both make me angry all the time for all sorts of little stupid neighbor reasons, you know, mostly having to do with the parkings of their cars, you know, but the ones that really bother me, the ones that I really want to get, there's like no way in there, you know, there's nothing I can really do to get at the Dunwins, but I look over on the other side, I look at the Igthorns, and what do I see every fucking day? Every fucking day I see little ones bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Now, you might say to yourself, Millie, calm down. This is just an unlicensed childcare facility, and children are playing on a trampoline. I say, bullshit. They have gummy juice. I need to get that gummy juice. So my plan is me and my army of ogres, which consists of John and Stinky, Ookie and Dookie. We are going to infiltrate the Igthorn. We are going to infiltrate the Igthorns. We are to steal their secrets, but most importantly,
oh no,
because that is the key by against the other neighbors.
Oh no.
That's awesome.
Gummy bears.
Okay.
Gummy bears.
Is there something I missed?
Yeah, there's connection problems.
Here and there, everywhere. High adventures and beyond compare. They are the Gummy Bears. Possibly the greatest Disney show ever created.
No, DuckTales.
DuckTales was good, but Gummy Bears was original content, no spin-off characters whatsoever.
DuckTales kind of was original content, sir.
What are you talking about? It was Huey,
you guys,
Dewey, and Louie, Donald Duck, Scrooge McDuck,
gentlemen,
all
I'm sorry,
pre-existing characters.
We were talking about how awesome
by
my
Disney.
submission is. Can we get back to that, please? All right, thank you.
Okay, your submission is pretty awesome.
We still have one submission left to hear.
Yeah. So I live in like a regular old neighborhood, you know, suburbia bullshit. You know, I have new neighbors. You know, the house next door is for sale, and the next day the for sale sign's gone. I've got new neighbors, and I'm woken up to a loud bang and pop, and then people like jumping around, like people looking at my windows, people jumping back, like, and then more snap pop. So I go outside, and it's this family of ninjas.
Oh man!
And they're testing their their flashbang powder, and like, you know, so I can see them out in the backyard.
They must be shitty ninjas if you actually saw them.
Well, no,
They're practicing.
they're practicing. So like I can see them
shitty
out.
ninjas.
So I can see them out in the backyard, and like they're having a conversation. Like the son is having a conversation with the daughter, and like they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the son like throws the bang powder on the ground, flash, and like I can see him roll off, and like the daughter's standing there, like, "What the hell happened?" Like, so like this shit, this shit's waking me up at all hours of the night. It's not cool. So like I go over to the, you know, and like they're jumping around, they're jumping off the roof, they're looking in my windows, they're like, you know, they're hiding behind my bushes. It's getting really fucking annoying. So I go over next door and I talk. It's the Shiguri family. So I talk to Mr. Shiguri. Seriously, can you just keep this to like daylight hours? Like, you guys are waking me up in the middle of the night with the flashbang. He's like, "Oh yeah, Eric, it's, you know, it's not a problem. I'll you know, we'll keep it to a bang." And he like throws the flashbang out and he's gone.
Ninja tricks.
So I'm like, "Oh, that's fucking cute. Thanks, Mr. Shiguri. That's fucking cute." So I figure out that flashbang powder is basically made out of, there's like a little bit of gunpowder, and it's phosphorus paper.
Mm.
So
Science.
So I'm like, okay, if that's how this is, then that's how this is. And I go online and I buy a ton of gunpowder and a ton of phosphorus, and I like pepper their house with gunpowder and phosphorus. So I go next door again the next day. They've been waking me up at all hours of the night with the fucking flashbangs and jumping off my roof and all kinds of stuff. So I'm at the front door and I'm like, Mr. Shiguri, please, can you guys just lay off it? And he's like, oh yeah, Eric, it's not a problem. I'm sorry. We did it one night, but we're not going to do it again. I really believe it. Bang! And he throws down the flashbang powder and he tries to get away from me, but it sets his whole house up and it just disappears. And their house flashbang disappears. And that's how I got rid of him.
I always expected that to be.
Wow.
I order the gunpowder and phosphorus paper off the internet, and then they get rid of me when the FBI arrests me.
Man, I really thought Millie had it with the gummy bears, but I gotta give it to Eric. That was amazing.
Oh.
So wait, Eric won? Is that what happened?
Yes, Eric
Yes.
is the victor of tonight's game.
What, mine was too real?
Dude, all of them were really good except John's.
Oh, I knew I should have gone with the Smurfs.
Oh, man. I don't even know what you were doing, dude. Like, it was just, I think, was that Surf Ninjas or something?
Pizza.
So I was playing for Christine. Hey, shout out Christine. Thanks for listening.
Oh,
You know I've got your back. And we're going to be
Cabin
watching
Fever.
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who are listening at home,
Christine!
yes, Christine gets her movie will be reviewed, but
What are these
unfortunately,
caveats?
there is a caveat because Halloween happens to be my birthday, which means I'm not actually going to be editing the Cabin in the Woods episode. What actually is going to be airing is our first cutting room floor episode.
Clip show.
Oh,
Clip
God.
show. Yep.
Everyone, I'm
Yeah,
so
'cause
sorry in advance
We hit
for
that
myself.
pinnacle 14 episodes that then requires a look back.
It is a tradition. I mean, this is the end of season 1.
So this means we're kicking back off with the standard show, the standard intro, with another horror movie.
Hey, the fans have spoken.
Sort of meta horror. So, in conclusion for tonight, Addams Family was awesome, and I think we all agree.
No, hold on. He's right. Addams Family was awesome at sucking.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, as I said, next week we'll be taking the week off. We'll be giving you a clip show. Right after that, we're going to be picking up our normal rotating schedule with Cabin in the Woods.
Tell your friends.
So if you're like a week into November and you still have a hankering for some horror, come on back, y'all.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night.
You can listen to our podcast on iTunes, the Stitcher app, or directly on our website. Feel free to send us a movie review suggestion. You'll have an equal chance of getting chosen for next week's movie review. You can reach us through social media, either by liking our Facebook page, John Hates Movies, or following our Twitter at John Hates Movies. Our music was composed by Kevin MacLeod. You can find this track and many more on his website, incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to hear someone say...
Don't call me